Three, two. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the panel. This evening we got the big Jim with us. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm good, dear. How are you?
I ain't got no complaints, babe. Living life, man. Living life.
How was your week?
It was okay. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on in the world that makes it a lot more concerning, It's just been rough out there. You know what I mean? It's been
Yeah.
really rough out there. So, yeah, man.
I'm watching. Even talking to Mukta, a lot of his jobs are falling out. A lot of my jobs are falling out. The economy is slow turned by 78%.
Mm.
Slowed down. So I think there's going to be, even through the holidays, a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But this war, this Ukrainian war, which is very, very important to resolve. And, even this guy I was talking to, the doctor, had said, um, I asked him, is it important for us to be in the Ukraine? He goes, my God, Jimmy, he said, do you want Russia to control 90% of the wheat? Do you know Russia is storing all their wheat? People are starving in Syria and Jordan, and the Ukraine and Russia together are the biggest wheat suppliers to the world.
Mm.
So, yes, this has become a very crucial thing because Russia is now in the Euro nation a terrorist country, and they are holding back everything. And yeah, I just feel the fallout, man. It's really sad to see all this stuff going on.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. There's a lot of fallout. There's a lot of
Yeah,
fallout
babe.
going on in
Yeah,
families
there's
and
a
all
lot
types of
of
shit, man.
there's a lot of things that are happening that are not in our control.
Yeah.
But I see people crying and complaining. Some people couldn't even buy turkeys. And I'm not working, Malik, right now. Thank God I have a few dollars and I'm able to survive. But do you know how many turkeys I bought for people that couldn't afford food? I bought them. I canned yams and potatoes and celery, and I bought them rice, and I must have bought about 15 turkeys, as
Good
much
for
as I
you,
could
man.
get. There wasn't any more in the store.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing for the dinner. If I can't find my wallet with my ID in it, I won't be going anywhere. So I'll be spending Thanksgiving at home. But I ordered some food, so I'm about to get me a couple of steak dinners, and we'll see what the hell happens. I may just warm that shit up tomorrow and smoke
Yeah,
me a joint and chill. Stay
yeah,
off the roads, man. Stay off the roads. So look, man, I was doing some research. I was looking at this takeoff thing. This young man that wound up being killed out in Houston, right? The rapper, the Migos dude, and come to find out
yeah,
he doesn't have a will.
yeah. What's going on with that? I read briefly about it, and I know you guys sent that.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a will. So it looks like his mom, and this is all allegedly, like his mom raised him, and people are questioning how much his dad was actually in the picture because now they're fighting over the $26 million estate that he has left,
Wow.
which is crazy, right? So
Yeah,
like, should
that's a big
parents?
problem. That's a very big problem.
But I mean, like, should parents that haven't really okay? So let's say let's err to the caution and say the dude was in his life and he was in there minimally, but he was doing what he could. You know what I mean?
Right.
Should he be allowed to benefit, even though the mom may have been the one doing all the struggling?
Wow.
That was a
I
question,
mean,
Jim.
yeah, what do you, Malik? What do you do with that? I mean, I mean that goes into. I mean, can somebody take control of that? I mean, outside of his family.
Well, I mean, so he didn't have any children, so the will. Excuse me. He didn't have any
Yeah, but
children, but
without
because
but
he didn't
without a
leave a will.
will, if you don't have a will, you have a major problem.
Well, it goes to the next, the closest relative, and the closest relative is his mom and dad. Those are his closest living relatives.
Okay, so it automatically goes to them.
It's supposed to go to them, yes,
Right.
But
And then
the complaint is that the mom did all the work. The mom raised them and did all the heavy lifting alone,
right.
and that the dad was kind of in the breeze. Is what is being said. So now the world is wondering: should the
But
dad even
now,
benefit from
doesn't
this?
the government step in, take their 45%, then disperse the money to the family because there is no will?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, $2 is more than what they had. It'll still be two
Yeah,
dollars more than what
exactly.
they had before. So shit, they want their money. So
You
yeah, it'll
know,
be interesting to see how that plays out. I hope it doesn't cause more division in that family. You know what I mean? With something as simple as that. But yeah,
right.
but it's a shame that people because if the dad really did have nothing to do with the raising of this young man, and he just showed up after he became famous, you know, it really does say a lot to what
How
he
old was
valued.
he?
So I don't believe he was that old. I believe he was under 30.
Yeah, he was in his mid 30s, I think, right?
Tops, no more than 35.
And what was the reason of his death?
So it was an accidental shooting.
It was an accidental shooting, right? I
Yeah.
know it was a shooting, but a lot of people were saying it was intentional. But and then a lot of people saying it was accidental.
My understanding is it was accidental. Yep. Thank you. Established in 87. Takeoff was 28 years old.
You know, this guy Mark, this doctor, he's a doctorate, but in psychology, but he was saying that um, here in Florida, everybody carries a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I don't hear of people getting shot and all this craziness. But the ill the illegal situation of people carrying guns. When you carry a gun, you have a sense of security. You also know that, hey, that guy next to you or the guy in the car next to you has a gun. But New York and all these states, you don't know. You don't know what the situation is, and how you don't. You get pulled up, and people are shooting people over a traffic ticket, or cutting somebody off, or I mean, it just happened on Staten Island last year. A guy got out. A guy cut a guy off, and he went out, parked right next to him, right in front of a T-Mobile store, shot that guy, and the guy behind him got shot because he was right there in the line of fire. And here these people, and a retired cop, by the way, the guy that shot this guy was a retired cop. And here you have this guy, well-to-do, and he's innocently in a situation and in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just you know was he an innocent bystander, or was there more to the story? Because it was very confusing. People were saying so many things.
So I believe that I don't want to go too deep into the story because I don't have my notes sitting in front of me. But I believe what wound up happening is I think that there was some type of altercation which he was not a part of,
Yeah, he
and
just was in this situation because
he
there
wound up
was a
being in the
confrontation,
situation.
they said,
Yeah,
and there was
yeah.
gunfire exchange between these few
I don't
parties.
even know if there was gunfire exchanged. I just know that
Oh,
he
you mean
was.
it was just one shooter?
It may have just been one shooter. Yeah.
Yeah, because people were saying there was a confrontation between two gangs,
No, I
and
don't think it was gang related at all. I think they were playing cards, and I think it was totally on another
wow.
side of the room. I don't think it had anything to do with him. He had nothing to do with the situation.
You
He
see how
he,
the
he
story
just happened to be.
changes from when you listen to one person, you listen to another, and you don't really get the right story. And I'm sure it's going to come out, and it's going to be
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
and
clearer.
I think that a lot has already came out, but I think the issue at hand is not necessarily how he wound up passing, but the fact that his dad is here now with his hand out. If he had no participation in the upbringing of this young man, and he's got his hand out now for to be paid because the young man had money um as his parental right. And so and people are kind of questioning that, and like, is that even right? Like, should he get anything?
No
And
matter what, Malik, it's a very, very sad thing.
It
You know,
is. It's
it's
definitely a
just a
bad
very
situation.
sad thing. And he had children, right?
No, he had no kids, and that's why the parents will get the money.
Oh, okay, right, all right. That's why the parents are getting.
That's
Yeah,
why the
okay.
parents are getting it. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
he
don't know
didn't
why
have.
somebody said the. I think he had children out of wedlock, and I don't know. I heard so many
No,
stories. I heard it was
you
a
heard
gang
something about
shooting.
somebody totally different.
I know
what you smoking down there, Jimmy? What you got in that joint?
it's crazy, right?
So, dude,
You
last night,
know,
man, these mass shootings kind of hit kind of close to home, you know. Because in Chesapeake, over across the bridge from me, there was a mass shooting at a Walmart. I guess an employee, a disgruntled guy, came in, and I guess he happened to be a team lead, and he took out 7 people, including himself.
wow,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you, man,
People doing last minute shopping, you know, and he went into the break room and did this, you know. People just came to work,
wow. You
and
know, it's just you hear so many of these stories, so much of this nonsense, and it really is over nonsense when you really think about it. You know, we all have to come to grips with what's really happened, and the reality of the situation is that too many people have um, the will to think they're above the law and they'll get away with it, and they're not thinking, and they compromise their anger, and the next minute, innocent people get
or
killed.
so I'm not really sure what the issue was, like if he had mental illnesses or what the hell was going on prior to him coming
Right,
in. Um so I don't want to necessarily comment on that. I just think that the state of this country right now is a very scary place.
right.
There's been over 600 mass shootings where 4 more people have died in the last year. 600, you know. And it like when
Yeah,
Columbine happened, and I know that things were still happening back in the day where it wasn't as publicized, but when Columbine happened in the late 90s or whatever, I mean, that was a big freaking deal. And now it's just like everybody and their grandmother, if they just get pissed off over some little thing. And I don't know if that was the case for this young man, but like, you know, people get pissed off and then they come into work and then they decide to take all these people out with them. And it's like the coworkers did nothing but do their job and come to work, you know. The people
yeah,
that were out at their store were doing nothing but trying to prepare for either their families coming into town, or you know, just get their lives in order. And it just is a sad state when you can't even go to the fucking Walmart anymore, you know, and feel safe.
yeah. It's man. I mean, there was just two stabbings. There was just another shooting.
The
Another.
gay club shooting in Colorado, and who cares if the club was gay? I mean, the fact of the
Yeah,
matter is these people got shot up,
yeah, man.
and all they did was they went out. And you know,
You
I
know,
am
I was
we
talking to my friend also about what happened in Buffalo, and people are afraid to go to the supermarket. People are afraid to go to that supermarket. A
people
lot of
are
people
afraid to
are
go
actually
to the
traveling.
supermarket.
My friend lives in Buffalo, and he said, "Jimmy, nobody even goes to that supermarket. Everybody travels either over to the next township or they drive like 10 miles. It's I don't
But
know. You
Jimmy,
know,
it
this is
doesn't
going to
even
get
matter
this
if
is
it's that supermarket. That's the crazy part about it now, right?
yeah,
Because like, who would have thunk it would happen at the Walmart? Who would have thunk it would have happened on UVA? Who would have thunk it would have happened at Virginia Tech? Who would have thunk that these kids were just going to school and they would die? Who would think that, like, you know, you can't even go to the fucking movie theater anymore? You can't go anywhere.
do you know? I mean, as my business has changed, and I noticed that everybody is fixing their yards. They're putting up fences. They're not going out. People are not going to restaurants. People, and you know, you ask these people, no, I don't, I want my kids safe. I want to know where they are. They come
People are
home.
scared.
Some are homeschooling. They're fixing up their backyard. They're putting in waterfalls and bars, and their families are entertaining in their own private property because they don't want to be out. They don't want to get into a situation or run into a problem. And this takes, I mean, since COVID, our social graces have completely segregated. But now with all this nonsense, it's even worse.
It is.
You
It
know, a
is.
lot of people like Home Depot. I was just in Home Depot in Florida, and I asked them, you know, because I heard people talking about this today, and they go, you know what? We don't hear about this that much in Florida, you know, and it was curious. It says because everybody carries guns, but then
But see,
every
I used
doesn't
to say
everybody
that
carry
too in
guns in
Virginia.
Texas?
Yeah, and everybody carries guns in Virginia too.
Yeah, so that's what I said to them. I said, well, the Uvalde school shooting, everybody carries guns, so you know. I honestly, you know, I was telling people, and this guy, Mark Richards, he said, he goes, people should be allowed to carry a gun. Because if you go into a place and you know that people in a store or anywhere have a gun, their chances of them getting shot are 75 to 90%. Your chances of getting shot without a gun and not surviving is almost 90 to 100%.
Jimmy, you sound like me when we first started this show.
Well, hey man, you know, I try to listen to people that are smarter than me so I can learn. And because, you know, again, me and you know, we're going to work, we're living our life, we're cooking, we see our husbands, our girlfriends. We're not sitting in a desk like these guys do in a university. And I mean, literally, this guy studies 12 to 14 hours a day on average. He
Good
sleeps
gracious.
4 hours a day. This guy is understanding our social graces and the breakdown of that, you know?
So what did he say was the cure? How do we fix this? Because it's,
I'm
I
sorry?
mean, how do we fix it? Because I am, and everybody knows I'm pro gun. Um, but at some point there has to be some line drawn in the sand.
You know,
There has to be. And I'm not giving up my
listen,
guns because the criminals are the ones with the guns, and so I'm going to be able to protect me and my family. But at the end of the day, like I've got to protect the world from it. It's just crazy. It's a crazy, crazy. And so
yeah, yeah, I know, man. I know. You know, it breaks my heart because, you know, again, as a musician and an artist, man, you know, I've interacted. I lived in South Africa, man. I mean, the people were amazing. I love everybody, but yet we have allowed extremism and absolutism to come into play beyond our ability to think about what we're doing, you know. I sent Mook to a thing where a young 20-year-old black girl got boxed in, and I was proud of her. And they were all Trump supporters, of course. And they had Trump shirts on, and they were calling her the N word. And she goes, "What did you say?" What? She goes, "Hey, look at you. This big white guy gets out of the car. He goes, yeah, you effing it." And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. My son sent me this because I raised my kids never to discriminate against anybody, never to
yeah,
hate a human being, anything but a color. I saw a Mexican guy and his little girl. She went to fall. I grabbed her and I started talking to her. Guess what? She was just like me. I'm no better than anybody, but I don't know, where do we draw the line? That's a good question, Malik. How do we draw a line in the sand that's so disrupted? We don't even know how we can draw a line in this chaos. We now have white extremists, and I'm sorry, it's the truth, that are literally ready to fight if the country, when Trump is elected and he doesn't win. Of course, he's not going to win. He's not even going to be a majority. He's threatening the guy that's commissioning him. We're now threatening FBI agents. We're threatening Capitol Police.
Lord
We're
have mercy.
threatening lawyers and judges. We're so brazen and we're so out of control. And now, me and you, I would never think of doing something like that.
It's
I
just
could
crazy.
never in my life. If I get pulled over by anybody or a policeman, I'm going to respect them no matter what. I'm going to say trooper, sir. I'm not going to get in their face and start making
But
trouble. And even
Jimmy,
on
but
airplanes, my friend.
speaking of cops, let's talk about those three that beat down that
Yeah,
inmate, or
yeah,
those five
it
that were
goes
beating
both
on that
ways. Yes,
inmate down there.
absolutely. You know, I'm not saying any. I'm not taking sides on anything. But if we're losing our respect, you know, mainly I'm talking about in a main consensus. I'm not talking about pockets and individual. Yes, there are in certain areas, which are like Kansas and Oklahoma. I mean, these guys are backward boys. I mean, these guys are just.
I've met some of the most liberal people from Oklahoma. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
I
true.
can't group, but it's just there are. You're right. There are some backwood rural communities in this country,
Yeah.
that are that are that are some pretty, that are pretty radical. So Jimmy, who's Buster? Joseph Arcado. Says Jimmy, remember Buster?
Buster.
Buster.
Yes.
Well,
Does he have a
Joseph
comment?
asked you about him.
Malik, now I can't hear you at all.
All right. Can you hear me now?
No, barely, babe.
Interesting.
You think it's
Interesting.
well? Last time I was in Florida, we had a good connection.
I thought we did. Just because you're down there by the beach, man. You're chilling.
Yeah, it's 84 degrees.
Oh, the weather's nice? Cool, cool. So who's Buster?
Buster. Oh, you wanted to know about Buster?
Yeah. Joseph Arcado says, remember Buster?
Oh, the guy I was talking about,
Yeah.
the mobster,
He asked if you remembered
the
Buster,
one,
and then he asked if you
the
missed the
show
old
with
crew.
Mukta.
Yeah, and then he asked if you missed the old crew.
Malik. Now I can't hear you at all.
Oh, goodness
I'm
gracious.
getting like, damn. What? Let me see if I can lower this. Okay. Are you talking about the show I did with Mukta about Buster?
I don't know. So Joseph Arcado comes into the room and he says, do you miss the old crew? And then he asks you about Buster.
Oh, he's asking me about Buster.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, do
Okay.
you remember Buster?
Buster is a clown, and he's a wannabe that tried to manipulate me.
Oh, shit.
Um, what Buster? Oh man, what Buster did was I opened up a restaurant, and he came in with his entourage, and I am not involved in those people, but I was recklessly put into situations with them because I'm building restaurants. I mean, it's what it was. But Buster was a guy that tried to take over my restaurant. He came in with about 12 guys. And he actually started saying, "Yeah, we're gonna take we're gonna just try to make a couple of dollars." And I'm going, "Couple of dollars out of my restaurant? You want to make a couple of dollars?"
How does that even
And
make
he goes,
sense?
he wanted to like run the bar. And I actually, right in front of all 12 of them, I was by myself with my little weasel partner, and which he is a weasel. His name is Robert Spoli, and I'm not afraid to say that because I can prove he was a weasel. I could have had him arrested as well, but that's another story, another tale to be told. But I said to Buster, I started hysterically laughing. And Buster turned around and goes, "What's so funny?" And I actually said my exact words, and I put my hand up on this one. I said, "All I see is 12 guys getting seriously baseball batted, and half of them never coming out of the hospital."
Oh, geez, Louise, Jimmy.
Now, as you see these little weasels, they're not men and they're scaredy cats. They ran out of the restaurant. And prior to meeting Buster, um, I'm sorry, after that, they wanted me to lie to another bunch of guys that were trying to get into the restaurant that he put most of the money in.
Mm.
And I was like, wow. So I was invited to a party. It happened to be Buster's house. I didn't know. They set me up. So I said, you know what? I'm going to stay here. I'm going to sit. I'm going to educate myself on what the scenario is here, and I'm going to know what's on these dumbass minds of these idiots. And I proudly would say that to their face because they are cowards and I'm not.
And you
But
knew
the
your
bottom line
audience.
is, she dropped Buster's wife dropped a key behind a very heavy bureau, and credenza was, was a dining room cabinet where you put all the dishes in,
Mm-hmm.
but it was so heavy, and these disheveled, talking like, yeah, we'll get over there, let's pick it up. Oh, I can't even move this thing. So they go, hey, Jimmy, you think you can give us a hand? And I went, Jimmy, here is your opportunity. Don't screw this up. And that's what I said. Because honestly, in my karate is about energy, and you can move things that are heavier than people think they can do. It's all in your mental mind.
Okay.
So I lifted this bureau up and I moved it out, and I went, ooh, and I'm doing this USA stuff that you do in karate. They,
Uh-huh.
and I went like this. I said, do you guys mind getting behind the bureau? Or you want to get there? Oh, he goes, yeah, yeah. They grabbed the key and I put it down nice and slow, no damage. As I'm leaving, I hid behind the stairs because I wanted to hear what they have to say. And this is a true story. He said, oh man, I wouldn't mess with that guy. That guy's nuts. He's 6'1". He weighs about 270 pounds, and
Holy
he's
shit.
completely in amazing shape. So so as soon as I came back up, I said, all right, guys, listen, I wanted to get out of there. I heard enough. They were trying to corral me to lie to another Gambino crew.
Oh Lord.
And yeah, oh no, you have no idea what I have dealt with in my life. It's been a nightmare. But I knew right away. So what I did was I played two against both sides. And I went to the other crew and I said, Buster told me to lie to you guys.
Mm.
And they go, Jimmy, we appreciate your honesty. Oh, I played it off. Oh, yeah, of course. Now, I knew that the guy that was handling that crew was about to get arrested in 2 weeks because my very dear friend was a first grade detective, and my
Okay.
father in law at the time was a first grade detective.
Okay.
So he told me, Jimmy, do this and get out of this situation. So they beat Buster up. They gave it to you because you're not supposed to do that in their dumbass world. So the other guy from the crew that was definitely trying to move in on me, which my father-in-law and my friend squashed, they wound up getting arrested. And that's the deep end of the story. I didn't even go into that with Mook because the story is just, it's ridiculous.
So
And
Jimmy,
that's
do
who
you know this
Buster is, my
Joseph
friend.
Arcado dude?
I'm sorry?
Do you know Joseph Arcado?
What?
Do you know Joseph Arcado?
Oh my God. I don't know of him, but I heard of him, and he's dear friends with people I have met building restaurants. But I don't know enough about him. I do believe he is on Staten Island. I do believe he does live on Staten Island. And I
Okay.
think he's originally from Brooklyn. And I know he moved to Staten Island, and I knew a lot of people that knew him. But again, only when I was building a restaurant did I interact with these people.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like if Joe Okada was involved, I probably would have met him. And I can't say enough about him. He gives me no reason to badmouth him because I just don't know him, and I'm not going to fib about anything.
Yeah,
There,
no, no,
there's
no.
there's
He just asked if
thousands of
you're
these
still in
people.
Staten Island. He just asked
What?
if you were. He just asked if because he's in the comments, Jimmy.
Oh, he's into comics.
He's in the comments. He's making comments.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. So he asked if you were still in Staten Island, and yes, you just told him you still are, and he
Yes,
said yes.
unfortunately, I'm still on Staten Island, my friend. I'm
Yeah.
getting out though. I'm slowly taking my company. I'm trying to get into the art world. I've been down here with my artwork, and I just don't want to do it anymore because of these morons. I mean, even building a grotto, a guy that makes much more money than I do is jealous of me on a grotto. He never built a grotto in his life. But I had to live with that jealousy and animosity because being a specialist or a sculptor and people know you as an artist, all of a sudden you have this disposition to be known as, oh, he's weird, he's strange, oh, he's eccentric, oh, that guy's crazy. I'm crazy. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad I'm not like you. But I studied psychology and I still read psychology books, and I read really Bruce Lee. If anybody has a chance, I would buy any one of his psychology books. He's actually, or what he was, a very, very smart guy. And he developed the art of fighting without fighting. So I want to use their will against them, you know. And I never would hurt a human being. I never, to this day, am proud of myself because I never discriminated against a person. I want everybody to learn and be amazing. And, you know, if anybody ever called me up to ask me something, I would only give them the truth, you know. And that's not a line by Donald Trump. He said the same shit, babe. I don't want to be caught up with that guy.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, you're getting
Oh,
in cahoots
please.
with the wrong
I
one.
want to tell you, I saw a thing where he said, one thing I will never do, and that's lie to you.
See,
And I'm blown away, man. You know, we really do have a lot of stupid people in this country, Malik.
we do, we do. So Joe asked, "Aren't you a black belt?"
What's that?
Joe asked if you were a black belt.
I'm a fourth degree black belt in an ancient karate. It's Vada and the level of fighting with energy in Samadhi. I'm also a Sifu in Kung Fu. I studied Kung Fu for about 8 years. I didn't finish my complete Sifu. I only did Tiger Claw and Crane, honestly, and there was 8 positions of the course, but I did a complete the black belt in Kung Fu. I also have a black belt in Wing Chun. I studied that when I was 14 years old, and I got it when I was 18. I humbled myself in Indian karate because a 79-year-old man kicked my 18-year-old ass in like I was standing still and he was half of my weight.
Mm, mm, mm.
There was a gentleman, Omar Khalif, that weighed 112 pounds and he was splitting a 4x4 with a heel kick. So I've learned the intensity of energy. I studied in India. I went to Calcutta. I
Okay,
also stayed in the Himalayas for a little bit,
all right.
and I did Kushti wrestling. So yeah, karate is very important and big in my life. It actually saved my life many times, and it actually helped me in a lot of situations. You know, because I don't look for trouble and I don't start trouble. I try to avoid trouble
Yeah,
because I do not like fighting. When you know how you can kill somebody in a split second, you avoid doing any confrontation. And my karate now is all spiritual. But I have reached a full level of samadhi in Vada and Kalaparate, and I'm also now studying Zitwa, which is
okay.
an old Indian technique. It's really very strange. But if you're asking me this deep about karate, yeah, man, you know, it actually is something that I recommend everybody study. It's also mandatory in China and some parts of Japan. And most of the Chinese people that come from China, I guarantee, know karate because I fought a couple of them, and they're badasses. And it's a discipline. It's a
Really?
discipline. Yeah. I knew if I'm fighting somebody from China or I'm fighting somebody from America because I'm a very disciplined and focused person. And it takes that intensity to be disciplined, to be focused. Like if I put my energy out and I become intense, I become intense. I can
Yeah.
be as heavy as a rock. I can be as light as a feather. You know, I can attack you like water, which is what is entrained in Indian karate. And we fight like a crab. We don't fight in attitudes, which is left and right. Am I getting too deep, Malik? Tell me, man.
No, no, keep going. It's
Give me
interesting.
time out, you know. But you
Mm.
know, if you're asking about, you know, my degrees and what I studied, I've been doing it since I'm, yeah, 12 years old. So 50 years. I'm
Okay.
62. I'm going to be 63.
Wow.
You know, I sleep 4 hours a day. I can teach somebody how to meditate for 20 minutes to a half an hour and actually gain 4 to 5 hours of sleep.
Mm.
And most of your soldiers, and nobody really understands the what they call battalions in the Chinese army, but these people were trained to stay up and not fall asleep and stay. So they would practice that. There was a doctor, there was some kind of I forget his name. He actually taught this, and he studied the same technique that I did. He's much more advanced. I'm not a doctor, and by any of these people and their level of intelligence, there's people that know so deeper and more about karate than I do, and I'm trying to achieve that enlightenment. I'm trying to achieve where I can. Again, I want an explanation. Home Depot. You know, when you wait online and you're trying to get something returned, or you have a situation. And I got up to the line and I went like this. And this is the intelligence of Zen. I got up to the line. The guy goes, "Oh, sir, if you can give me," I said, "Buddy, relax. No problem. I didn't say it. No, I know. I'm just no, you don't have to let me know. I could see you're busy. Take care of what you got to do. I'll wait my turn. Don't stress out."
Yeah.
All of a sudden, behind me, there's five women and a guy. Excuse me. And I go, "Hey," I went, "Hi." And I yelled out, and everybody got quiet like in a split second. The same thing I would do in a karate class. And everybody was standing at attention. I said, "Oh," I said, "Excuse me. This is a human being. He cannot answer all of your questions in once. So why are you not waiting online patiently like me so this man can service you? And if he stresses you out, he's going to walk away and he's not going to help you. You're going to be waiting." And an old woman, I said, "Ma'am, isn't it better to just relax? Don't you think I'm in line? Are you jumping?" And she goes, "You're right." And I said, "Okay, let's all wait." And do you know, within a matter of a minute, every single one of these yelling people, that it was his fault that his DeWalt sander broke down. And how dare you sell me this thing? I defied them. I took all their energy out of their body. And when I went up to the line, the guy goes, "How the hell did you do that?" I go, "Zen, man," you
Mm.
know? And it put everybody that was coming across, that energy flowed out. It's an aura. And everybody was waiting online. And I go, "Ma'am, isn't this better? You're right. I get nervous." "What are you getting nervous over? A broken screwdriver set you bought your husband for his birthday?
Mm.
And you're returning it? So what? Shit happens. Relax, you know?" And that's what gave me that purpose, man. Again, I saw people discriminating in front of Madison Square Garden, and this was a mixed crowd. This was blacks, whites. This was a bunch of different people,
Yeah.
and they're cursing at two guys that kissed each other. Now, man, if I'm walking down the street and you don't try to kiss me, I'm fine. You want to kiss somebody, you go kiss them all you want. But there was
As
about
long as they're
20 of them.
consenting adults.
What?
I said, as long as they're consenting adults.
Yeah, as long as they could. Yeah, they were consenting adults. But these guys they were nervous. They were poking them and pushing them, and I'm coming around the line to get on, and I happen to walk right into the end of it, and the thick of it. I mean, and these guys, I go, "Hey, yo!" I yelled out loud. Silence. I'm talking about a yell. This was a yell.
Uh-huh.
And they look at me and they go, "Hey, bro, why don't you?" I said, "First of all, I'm not your bro. I don't even know you. And I am somebody you don't want to know." And then I started doing what's called hypnosis. We
Okay.
fight. Samadhi is a level of it. You're fighting in hypnosis. I've done it. I've proven it. I've knocked guys down without even touching them. So I started telling them in what we call the turbine effect, and I started moving my hand in that motion. And these guys calmed down, and they became human beings. "Hey, you're right, man." I said, "What are you doing, man? It's none of your business. Don't give me this God stuff. Don't give me your God stories. Don't give me your nonsense or it's against thing. This shit's been going on for 6,000 years in Rome, in India, all over the place. So stop it.
Wow.
And yeah, and my friend said, what have these guys attacked you? I take them on just as they come. Now I spun off of 7, 8 guys. I fought many guys. And next minute, I'm here and I'm behind them. Next minute, as they're turning around, I'm elbowing them in the temple. I'm dislocating their jaw. I'm snapping their knees. I'm
Jeez.
kicking their groins. They don't even know what's happening. 7 guys were down. I got upset in 45 seconds. And people might think, "Oh, you're crazy," but there's a lot of people that will vouch for that. And
Damn.
Muka saw me in action a couple of times when we were building the cutting room.
Mm, mm, mm. So
But
look,
man, if we
Joe.
all had that control, we'd
Yeah.
be in a beautiful place, man.
I was gonna say, man, maybe you need to get on TV and teach this to everybody so that they can calm the hell down, man, because it's crazy
Hey,
out there.
bro, my babe, babe, this is something that is fundamentally easy to understand once you begin the mindset to understand it.
Mm,
Once you take a realization how dangerous from this position to that position, or wherever we go, or wherever we stand, or wherever we are, we can be in a bad place. And honestly, energy, the negative energy attracts negative energy.
yeah,
And if you are able to focus and stay in a mindset of calmness and know how to calm a person, anybody that shows anger towards another human being or wants to hurt another being is a very weak-minded person.
yeah,
It's extremely weak. And they are, if you engage with them, again, it's the turbine effect. If I engage negativity, negativity will get stronger. When you're fighting a guy, you know, what is a name? Shakespeare said, what is with a name? What is in a name? You know how
mm,
many times a guy called me, you're an asshole or you're a jerk? Now, if I take that literally, then I'm going to attack him.
of course, every
I'm
time.
gonna, oh, yo, you're a jerk. Oh, I'm a jerk. Yeah, I'll show you a jerk. You're an idiot. No, you want to be an idiot, But if I say to the guy, I said, hey, you know what? That's proven to be true a few times. I'll try to avoid it the next pass, bro. And the guy didn't even know what to say to me.
Yeah,
He was
you caught him off
expecting me.
guard.
He was waiting for my aggression. I didn't give it to him. And it's that easy. People think, oh, oh no, you can't be like that. If somebody says something to you, you gotta, no, you don't. No, you don't have to attack them. And it's all about our breathing. It's all about our balance. I use 30 to 40% less energy than anybody that's walking around. And I even pointed it out to my son. I said, James, look at the way this guy's bouncing back and forth. I mean, even you. He goes, yeah, Dad, I do that. I said, because you're not in balance. And
See,
once we learn the ability of balance, I wanted to get into teaching Zen and isometrics, because isometrics, actually, the isometrics I do brings you into karate. It brings you into this motion, and you're breathing and you become more subtle. Like when my mother died, everybody was flipping out, but I relaxed and I focused my mind. I'm not going to, I know it's my mom, but I'm not going to let this devour me. My sister right now is in a panic. My father last night was laying on the floor since 8 o'clock last night to almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
good
Couldn't
gracious.
get on the phone. If my sister didn't go to the house, she started hysterical, panicking, and next minute, hey, all of a sudden, I'm talking to her very slowly and softly, and all of a sudden, you're right. I'm not. I got to calm down and I got to relax. That's the emotion and the aggression that we all have to just get away from.
Yeah, man.
There was a black gentleman at Home Depot today, really nice guy, and you know what I said to him? I said, hey, sir, I'm so sorry to bother you. He goes, hey, man, that's what I'm here for. I set the tone of being a gentleman and respecting that man. Now, just because of that position that he's in life, is he less of a human being that doesn't deserve my respect? That people get this high and mighty horse because they might drive a Lamborghini or they have a lot of money, that they can showboat a poor guy that's making 15, $16 an hour trying to feed his family.
But you know what, Jimmy? The funny part about it is, and that's the
Right.
problem when people make
And
assumptions, right?
and he took the time to walk to me to show me where the pumps were,
Yeah.
because my son's doing a job next week and he needed these air pumps. And I said, sir, I shook his hand. I said, man, I really got to tell you, I appreciate you taking the time to take me over here to get this. And I wish them all a happy Thanksgiving. You know what I heard as I left? Man, I wish everybody was like this guy. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying, Malik? You go in there and people get pounded on. You guys sold me this thing last week like it's their fault, like they make
yeah.
it.
Like you the one that did the reviews. You're the one that
Yeah,
did the
man.
research. You
Come
break it.
on. People are nuts. People are nuts, and COVID made it worse. Yeah, I do see it. Before COVID, I was teaching isometrics and Zen. And people love the class, but oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you got social distancing. They closed everybody down. I mean, I'm still here, and I lost my whole entire business.
Mm.
I'm still fine. I'm not. I know things are going to work out. I'm bringing good enlightenment and good energy. I'm going to respect you every time I get on the phone with you. I'm going to respect Dutch. I'm going to respect Mukta. You
Yeah,
know, Mukta was
that's what it's
honestly,
about.
Malik, Mukta was like my brother. I love
Yeah,
Mukta.
yeah,
You know, I love him like forget it. And he could say anything to me. Kids around with me, but you look in the world and you see the separation of people. You
yeah.
know, I had it in my own family. I had an aggressive, disrespectful, dysfunctional family. They come from that bigot line, Lamar shot scenario, I call it, and they never left it. Me, I was never there, And my daughter, like I heard my father say some hard, and my daughter would come up to me when she was young. She goes, "Daddy, why is Grandpa saying that?" I said, because Grandpa is a very angry person, and me and you, we don't want to be angry, right? She goes, "No," and she is so calm. You'll never see this girl ever get upset. She just had a guy, her boss, try to go out with her. He's married.
What?
Sexual harassment. She had to call HR on him.
Oh
That's how
Lord.
bad he got. She was hysterical crying, and my daughter told the boss told my daughter's coworker that he was pleasuring himself to my daughter.
Oh my God.
Malik, right now, my brother-in-law John, I'm gonna go there, and I said, no, no, you're not. And I said to Dominique, what do you think of all this? She goes, Dad, it's disgusting. I said, look, you're getting upset and emotional. I'm worried about you. But you got to understand, sweetie, he's a weak person. You're not, right? She goes, you're right. Then she called me the next day, Dad, I thought about it. You're right. I should show no aggression to this guy. I said, Dom, when we do something to ourselves, we have nobody else to blame. But when we do things to other, like if I was vindictive, more malignant to you, Malik, and I tried to hurt you and hurt your family, I'm going to suffer for that. You will suffer a great fate. People think, oh, that's not true. You got to go get him. But
Karma
guess
is
what?
beautiful.
The guy's losing his job. He's getting divorced.
See?
So I said, Dominique, where do you think his fate's going to lie? You might be throwing change and seeing him at the train station begging. I said, so don't worry about it. Was this man aggressive to you? Listen, sweetheart, there was no way I would like to tell you something. I would like to rip his head off. Malik, I'd like to wait for him in the parking lot and beat the living crap out of him. But then again, now what I'm doing is I'm hurting my daughter, I'm hurting myself, I'm hurting my family, I'm hurting my grandson, and the energy, that negative energy amplifies. And
Yeah.
it just keeps going. Then, if what happens if I get out? My daughter becomes bitter because I'm not around, and it just is a progressive thing. So now my daughter's fine. This guy's getting what he wants, and the buck stops there. My ex-brother-in-law is not trying to run there, or my cousin, or James, my son,
Yeah.
And he's like, you're right, man. It's not worth it. Nothing
It's
in
not.
this life and our aggression is worth it. Over a car or somebody bumps into you, you know? It's like it's stupidity. And we have to be better and above that. And the thing is, this country doesn't do that for anybody. This country
Yeah.
doesn't want you to be smart. It wants to hold you down and shower you, especially in low income areas. You have the Bronx, right? Katie on the show, the girl Kate, beautiful girl. She lives in the Bronx. She sees this carnage every day. You bump into somebody's car, you hit them on the street because they're passive aggressives. They're not passive aggressives. They're not like, oh, so, nobody's saying, hey, I'm sorry. Nothing is intentional.
Yeah.
A guy might make a mistake and cut somebody off, because, oh, I forgot my exit. So, if you carry, and that's what, again, we're getting back into karate and Zen, but that's what Zen did for me.
Okay.
Zen is the biggest and most important thing that we all can study. Balance, breathing, enlightenment, looking at the good and not the bad and the evil. If somebody gets out of the car and they get aggressive with you, you will never see that person again.
Yeah.
But if you go and aggressively go after that person, have a fight, next minute the cops come, then you're both arrested, then you're both in court. Now you have to spend money. Now you're borrowing money from your family. You're pissing off your family because your mother and father and your cousin just gave you money, and now you're going to jail. And now we have to take care of your kids and your wife. And
Yeah.
you lost your job because you were arrested.
Exactly.
You see how aggressive negativity is?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what Trump did. Trump aggressively destroyed our ability to be human beings. A lot of the younger generation, besides the maniac liberals and the woke woo-woos, we are on a path of where these animals and these idiots, like look at for instance those three white moron pieces of garbage that shot that poor guy jogging in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was it, Avery, right?
Yeah.
I was just reading
Aubrey.
that story. I was just
Aubrey.
reading the whole transcripts of what happened. And I was looking at the video because I wanted to know more about it. It was just strange that a man, and they assumed that this guy, he's dressed in nice. He wasn't dressed like a bum or looked like he
Oh, he
was
was
had
only
dirty
jogging.
clothes on. He looked clean and neat. So this is the aggression that now if I was in that car and those, hey, look at that, I'm going to go get that in. And what are you doing in this neighborhood? I'm like, I'd be the first one that would simmer that down. And guess what? Those guys would still be around. Avery would be visiting his mom and
Yeah.
jogging in the neighborhood like anybody else deserves to jog in that neighborhood. So this
But that's
is
the
the hate.
problem. That's the problem. There's
Right.
so much,
That
but it's
and
so
that
deep and it's
aggression and that
embedded.
hatred towards a human being because of their color is the most disgusting thing that we can do as human beings. It's the most aggressive things we can do as human beings. Are we? Does anybody ever challenge this stuff? No, we don't hear about that. Oh no, we put those white boys away. No, they got life in prison. And I saw their faces, and you know what? I had a smile on my face because I felt, you know what they were saying to themselves? Man, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know?
Yeah.
Why did I do that? And this poor, and now, so that negativity has caused every one of those people's families chaos.
Yeah.
They're all corrupt now. They don't have a home probably because their meal, the supplier of the provider of that family is
It's
gone.
gone.
And
Yeah.
now those kids become bad and then they do bad to others.
And
So
it's
do
just
you
a
hear the
vicious cycle.
aggression of how that works?
It's a
But
vicious
in
cycle.
goodness, look how simple goodness, the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
And none of this happens. But we're not being taught the mindset to say, hey, it's all right if somebody walks down the street and goes, hey, you're an asshole. You know what? I'm going to tell him, hey, you know what? Sometimes maybe I am.
I mean,
I'm
that's
not,
kind of
I'm
my
not,
motto.
I'm
Just
not
don't put your
perfect.
hands on me, Jimmy. Just don't put your hands on me. And I know that sounds aggressive.
Honey, you know how many times I say that word? I met two muscle heads. All right, I'm going to tell you, I was working out in the gym and they started getting aggressive with me. I was doing a pull machine and they said, yo, what are you doing? I said, look, we need to work out. Well, we need the pull machine. And I said, excuse me? I said, I'm not done yet. Oh, yeah, you're done. I said, sir, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to now tell you one thing. I am finishing my sets. If you put your hands on me, you will see something you never saw in your life before. Oh, yeah? Like what? What are you going to do? I said, well, I want you to think about this. You wake up in 6 months out of your coma, and your body is a complete fat jello bag, and all your muscles are deteriorated, and you're a flab monster. And he looked at me and he started, like, I started putting things in his head. And he goes, oh, you're that confident? I said, yeah, because I feel your fear deep down inside, because I feel your fear. I was trained. Or what do you mean trained? Trained like, and all of a sudden he became nervous and questionable because he did have fear. It came out of his body.
Mm.
He was expecting me to back down and be a
Yeah.
wussy.
Yeah.
But because they were so aggressive and they were muscleheads, and I heard them talking, two white big jerks, steroided out. I said, "Sir, you carry water muscle." Now the other guy grabs my shoulder from the back
Mm-hmm.
like I'm a joke. I kept hitting him in the same spot. He kept throwing punches out, and all I'm doing is blocking him because his arms are so wide. And I was taking a knuckle punch, and I was punching him in the arm in the same exact spot. It went up like a softball. I broke his muscle tissues. I separated his muscle tissues. He could not work out for 5 months. That's how
Mm.
bad I deteriorated. I broke his muscle. I tore his muscle.
No.
Cops came, everything, but of course the owner and everybody said, "Hey, these two guys were getting aggressive." He grabbed him. I defended myself. I told the officers, I said, "I am a registered black belt in three different styles." I said, "I'm not going to lie." I defended myself, and the guy goes, "How did that guy get that baseball on his arm?" And I said, "Sir, I didn't want to hit him in the face. I didn't want to break his knee. So what I did is I wanted him to stop swinging at me. And that's what I did. He couldn't even lift his arm. And I did it very calmly. The other guy didn't even jump in to help his friend
Heck no.
because he saw how fast I was blocking this guy's punches and throwing him off where I was spinning him so I can get an accurate shot on the shoulder.
Mm.
And I was doing it very calmly. And it was in less than 30 seconds. I mean, it was bad. I knew exactly how to hit. I shot him with energy, and that boy was suffering. I ran into that guy in the gym. He never said another word to me, didn't even look at me,
I
and he
wouldn't
actually
either.
apologized. And I told him, I said, "My man, just because you lift weights and you think you're this big monster of a guy and you think, you want to intimidate people smaller than you," I said, "I am much smaller than you. But this smaller guy here will actually annihilate you, and you wouldn't even be able to put your hands on me." And he goes, "Yeah, I kind of saw that. You judge him." I saved his life in a way.
Mm.
Now the owner of the gym says he helps people in the gym, and he goes out and he tells them, "Don't work out like this." Oh no, take your time. You know, if I walk up to a line on you, Malik, and I see and I feel your energy's all disheveled, I walked into a deli and an old man, because the Social Security that they give him that the Republicans want to take away so he can definitely be on the street and die, is working in a deli 10 o'clock at night. And the guy started crying. The guy's yelling at him. You know what he calls him? "Hey, listen, old man, I don't got all night. I gotta go. Come on, I gotta get to a club in Jersey. What are you doing here? What are you killing the cow?" So I again very loudly got his attention. I said, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing?" "Right, what do you mean? Well, what do I know? I don't know nothing. I'm waiting online, just like you. You burst into the line because you're in a rush." I said, "You know what? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to get out of this deli. You ain't getting a sandwich from this guy. You go somewhere else." He looked at me and he knew I felt his fear. I said, "I am going to say this once." And I said it, "You better get out now," because my eyeballs were popping out of my head.
Jeez,
He
Jimmy.
didn't walk. He ran out of there. He had some girls in the car and he's driving a hot rod car. Do you know that old man grabbed my hand? And I said, he started shaking like he was going to have a heart attack.
Oh
And I
Lord.
said, "Sir, I am very sorry that you have to go through that, you know." But everybody started clapping in the deli. It was packed. He walked right up to the line. People look at people and, oh, I admire them. And do you remember Mob Wives?
I never really watched it.
Okay, I never watched it either, but I knew a woman. What was the woman that died? What was her name? Uh, oh my God. Uh, do you believe this? I can't remember her name right now. Angie. The girl Angie, which they call Big Ange, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She's a mob woman.
Okay.
Her husband was a mobster. Her second husband was a mobster. She's around all mobsters. Her bar was all mobsters. So when I built my restaurant, she came into the restaurant with her entourage. And this is what I hear her saying. Oh, this is our new hangout. We're going to be here. I don't want these people in my restaurant. I have nice couples. I have nice people in my restaurant. I'm not having these people in my restaurant. So her name was Big Ange. What did I do? My waitress, my cocktail waitress goes up. She goes, Jimmy, like, and they're afraid of these people. And she goes, Big Ange is upstairs in your bar. And I went, oh, Big Ange. I went up, and you know what I said to her, Malik? I go, hey, Large Marge. Large Marge. That's not my name. Oh, I'm sorry. They said your name was Large Marge. I said, holy mackerel, I'm so sorry. She goes, it's Big Ange. And so what did I do again? I said, well, I'm very sorry, Large Marge. She goes, you son of a bitch. I go, yeah, yeah. I said, oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Again, I forgot the name. She got up. She goes, let's get out of here. You'll never see me in this place again. She walked out. I never saw her in that place again,
Hey,
just from doing that.
hey.
But I guarantee you, if she was in my restaurant, there'd be brawls, there'd be fights, they'd be dealing drugs, they'd be dealing cocaine.
Oh yeah.
Nothing but I had FBI's following some people that went into my restaurant because Staten Island is filled with the sea crawling slugs.
Jeez, Joe. So yeah. Joe had a couple more questions for you, bro.
Joe, man, come on, baby. I love it, Joe. Tell me.
Excuse me. Sorry. So he said was Vada Kempo your first study?
Yes, I studied Vada Kempo with Terry O'Donnell. Do you know Terry? If he knows Terry, I studied karate with Terry O'Donnell. This was after I did Kung Fu and Wing Chun. Terry is a great fighter, and he really knew the establishment. Vada Kempo was more of an aggressive style Kempo, pure Vada and Zitwar and Sumati, which is the real Indian style. Kempo was not. Kempo was more of an Okinawan and Japanese style, which was brought in, and I didn't really like Vada Kempo. I got my brown belt in Vada Kempo, but it was not one of the styles I achieved as a black belt. It was pure Vada, which was Jack McCrave, who lives in Florida. And Jack McCrave was the Grand Master. He studied in India. He studied with Omar Kali, which was the Grand Master of Vada, which is also Zitwa. Um, and yeah, I never really liked the Vada Kempo. It was too hard, and there's no reason to be hard, you know.
Mm.
Like Bruce Lee, everybody thinks he was hard, but he wasn't. He was hard to fight or throw a punch. Is like your arm is a chain, and your hand is at the head of an anvil, and you only let the anvil hit hard when it hits your face, and with that force of energy you're knocking somebody out, especially with a back fist. Vada we have what's called an overhead fist, and we also have an inverted fist. We also have an inverted chop, which does the same damage, and I would rather be over somebody's face. I fight with what's called a slap style. I fight with an open hand, which is what Vada really is. Kempo just doesn't do that. There was a lot of guys that were great Kempo fighters, and John Savaggio, who was the Grand Master of Vada Kempo, he's an awesome fighter. He's retired from the sanitation. That guy was just he fought with the energy. He had that energy. I never met Steve Savaggio. I come from the Art Monks, which was the full form of Vada, which was Jack McCrave, who was just he can fight you without even touching you. People think this is crazy, but it's not. It's really just an amazing art. A lot of people don't believe in the energy, but when I used to fight with Chris, we were actually not touching each other, and the walls and the windows were sweating with water. There was water dripping, and it was 80 degrees outside. And we just made a room. We made a room with fog. That's how deep we were fighting. Literally fighting for 3 hours straight, nonstop, not even getting a drink of water, because we weren't using our energy. I can't explain it. You can't achieve that in Vata Kempo. You can
Okay.
only achieve that through Vata and Samadhi, which is the levels of fighting in that enlightenment of energy. I did a student one time, and she was getting a black belt, a very talented piano player and musician. And she finally got a black belt, and she had to face me to get a black belt. And me and Sensei Chris Fidel were the only ones that were able to fight in energy. And she went flying across the room and hit the wall. And I didn't do it. I used her force against her, and I just pushed her away. I didn't even touch her, and she went flying across the room. Um, Even my Sensei Chris said, I never witnessed that. Joey thought that I was too aggressive with her. And I'm like, this guy is a real passive moron. And he doesn't fight in energy. He's a sensei, very astute, more astute than I am. I don't carry the astute style anymore and doing, katas and everything. I don't need to do that. And I teach integration. When I teach Vata, I will teach you integration. I'll teach you the flow. You will start learning the flow and the energy. But he's more of a Kempo guy. He fought with that mindset. So after he said the class, he tried to embarrass me. And he goes, well, Sensei Jimmy doesn't understand that, you don't have to be aggressive and use your strength. And I went right like this. I said, everybody, this is the last time you will see me in this dojo. It was
Mm.
Sensei Joe Mirabel's dojo. So I said, what Sensei Joe is not telling you is he's not teaching you this karate or this style or this art, because Sensei Joe doesn't know what I did to Christina. Christina did that to herself, and Christina went, you didn't even touch me. I went like flying across the room. You didn't even touch me. And she was using her own energy and your own balance away from her. And all I did, and it is movement. It's a mindset, and you can do it. And she told Sensei that, and Joey's jaw dropped when I embarrassed him.
Mm.
And I said, you can continue this class, and Joey will teach you the fundamentals. But if you really want to learn this style, which there's no Vata schools anywhere, there's maybe one in Florida, in Homestead, I believe it is. There's still one. But Jack McQuaid doesn't teach anymore. He's going to be almost 90 years old.
Okay.
But I people are asking me to open up a dojo and teach Indian karate again, but I just said nobody has the discipline or focus to want to do it, because you have to be so entrained in it. But that's the story about Vata Kempo.
All right. All right.
Did I answer your question, Joe, my brother?
I think you did. You actually answered a couple of them while you kept talking. That's why I just let you keep going. Joe
I'm
says
sorry,
too
babe.
many angry people. No, no, you're good. You're good. And
Malik,
then
you didn't give me
he
no
also
time out
admits,
tonight at all, man.
huh?
You didn't pass the blunt at all, babe.
Hey man, I just let you go with it, brother. I let you go with it. And
But Malik, it's such an interesting topic, Zen, and talking about these beautiful things, and how amazing we can be as human beings if we
yeah,
really just started understanding stuff and realizing,
yeah,
it's terrible. Gangbangers go, I know guys that were gangbanging, and a good friend of mine was one of the heads of the Bloods. And do I hate him? No, he's a dear friend of mine. But he goes, Jim, I didn't realize till I was 33. He's 54 now. He goes, I didn't realize till I was 33. He goes, I look at my kids and I look at my wife, and I come home and I hug her every day, and I look at her, and she knew, because they were both in the same thing.
yeah.
And
Wow.
she just says, I'm proud of you, you know. And I go, and he teaches people, I want to go into the heartland and start aggressively teaching this to people,
Yeah,
and traveling and talking to kids of getting away from this aggression.
yeah,
Because if you have a better understanding that you become more disciplined as a human being, your humility and your empathy grow exponentially. You'll go on the street, and I do it because, again, I live in a prominently black neighborhood, I love everybody in my neighborhood, and a woman was dropping her stuff, and I said, "Oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry." You know what she said to me? I wish everybody would be nice like that. Or the girls at the counter. She goes,
Yeah,
"Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I overcharged you." I saw people. What do you? It's bad enough, and I was like, "Hey, no problem. Don't worry about it.
exactly. Like, what's the
Hey,
big
it's no
deal?
big deal." I wish everybody was so nice. They blame me if a bag opens up. I said, "Hey, I'm not blaming you for nothing. You're a human like me. But
Yeah,
I'll go and give them Christmas gifts. I'm going to give it an envelope, and all the stores I go to, I'm going to give them $20 each.
yeah,
I'm just going to say, hey, thank you for helping me. When I go up to a counter and I get my favorite fish salad, the guy behind the counter, he goes, "Oh, buddy, I just got 10 fish." I went, "Hey, no problem, man. When you're ready," he goes, "Buddy, thank you." I threw him $5. He goes, "What a gentleman." The guy
yeah,
that was cutting my cold cuts and getting me my stuff behind the counter, I said, "Hey, sir, thank you." I called him sir. I said, "Thank you, buddy. Sir, I really appreciate I really appreciate your help." Just think about that, Malik. Is
yeah.
that really that hard? You
It
know?
really isn't, Jimmy. And on that note, folks, we're gonna let y'all head out. Thank you for joining us. Oh, one last thing we were supposed to talk about was Wakanda Forever. Jimmy, did you go see the movie
The what?
Wakanda Forever?
Oh man.
Did you
Let
see
me
it?
tell you something. I liked when what's her name that did the Queen?
Angela Bassett.
Let me tell you something. I loved when she played Tina Turner, and I got to tell you, she really like worked with Tina and did all this. But I want to tell you, she was amazing in that movie.
She was.
She was literally she was the
I
the
can't think of
achievement
a
of that
bad
movie.
movie that she's been in though.
Yeah, she's a seasoned actress. She's an awesome person in person, and it just comes out of her.
Yeah,
She really played the part and was astute about it. And again, I really enjoyed the movie because of her.
I
I'm
did
not going
too.
to lie.
I
I
did
thought
too.
the other actors were good. I thought the sister was very talented, and she
Marie.
became the new. But Angela Bassett, she was just man. She was badass.
Yeah.
And I liked the first one. I really liked that actor.
Chadwick
Um,
Boseman. Yeah.
yeah, that bothered me when he
It broke
died
my heart.
because I really loved his movies, and I
But
loved
they
I
did a
loved the
good
first
tribute
one.
to him.
The Black
They did a
Panther. I
great
thought it
tribute to
was
him.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
he's a
during the
very
movie, I think
peaceful
they did a
guy. I
great
heard in
tribute.
real life.
Huh?
I heard he's a very peaceful guy.
Yeah, he
Was a peaceful
was.
guy.
Yeah, yeah. May he rest in
But
peace.
they did have a script for him to do the second Black Panther.
No, they did.
But when he died, they had to rewrite the whole movie. They just
Yeah,
threw it away. I mean,
yeah,
they what we call shelf. They shelved it because how could they do the movie? He's not there. And he was the star of that movie. He was the
he
guy that
created the
showed.
movie.
Yeah, he showed you that he was smaller. And get this, in the movie, you don't have to be big to be amazing and bold.
Mm-mm.
And he fought all those bigger guys, and his so-called cousin that was a bigger guy that took over. And it just shows you how evil fails,
Yeah,
even in all these movies, you
yeah,
know. But
yeah.
anyway, man, this was an awesome show.
It was, man. Thank you
Hey,
for joining.
babe, what are you doing for Thanksgiving, man? You having with your family?
So I can't find my wallet. Um,
So no
because I
turkey for
don't have
you?
my driver's license, so I can't get on the road for 2 hours.
All
So
right,
I just ordered me some steak dinners. So I'm gonna have some steak tonight and maybe some fish tomorrow.
awesome, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just
you
kind
do
of
it
chill
your
out.
own way, babe.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna enjoy
And
it. What about you,
hey,
man?
we pulled through again, me and you, man.
Yes, we did.
I
As
told you I'm
usual.
here. I'm here for you all the time, sweetie.
Amen. And I for you. And I for you. All
Hey,
right, folks.
let's hope. Hey, you know what, Malik? This show meant a lot to me because I hope it touches people to be able to think. And wouldn't that be a beautiful thing?
That would be. That would be. And it's peaceful going into Thanksgiving. So that's why I didn't cut you off. I thought it was very appropriate. So we had a great conversation. And on
Yes.
that note, folks, you guys enjoy your holidays. And thanks for joining us. To the viewers that will be catching us later, thank you for watching. And y'all have a blessed night. Good night.
Good night, everybody.